All right, another thing that I noticed from this religion is apparently we're trying to create people to fulfill roles or some shit like that. And you can say it's part of the Masons. You can say they're part of the group of people with the power or whatever authority or some sort of blessing where they can, let's say, mold things into the way they are. But I mean, they're obviously getting it from somewhere. And they keep talking about Satan giving them the gifts and all this other shit. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, as far back as you can look, you're looking at it in the Bible. It says, like a hot oven, you're up in a hot oven and we conformed you to what you are, or some shit like that. And if you look at it, slavery was endorsed, and some of the people that escaped slavery were Masons. So they were made out to be famous. You don't know what they went through to become famous, but they became famous. And let's say they were raped, their families were murdered, and all this other shit. The apology is that they could be famous. So this is a big ass mind fuck in a way. And how do I put it? Like the Black Panthers, they were also, how would I say? They tried to actually stand up. So they were one of the original groups of people who decided to help out their community and try to clean it up and all this stuff from crime and all this other stuff. Give good role models and all this other stuff. They actually ended up in jail. But they went out there and with guns and literally did a display of strength. Now they're in jail. So it seems to me that there's a big joke being played, or you could say that as soon as I'm done making something, it's not good enough for me. So I end up throwing it in jail just to get it out of the way because I don't want to see it. Now the Gangster Disciples used to be the same thing. Errol Rookies used to be the same thing. Latin King probably exists even to this day. Vice Lord used to be the same thing, but then they turned around and became violent somehow. So they started getting drugs themselves. So that shows that somehow they fell. So apparently that's the joke here. As soon as like money left, they decided that they needed money in order to keep going. But somehow this is being endorsed by the government, and the government is on the shoulder. So there's a whole bunch of like, how would you say, where you allude to something, where you suggest something, where you hint towards something, to say that these things are actually being created and tested, and they keep failing. And Satan is at the right hand of God, or is up and running up and down in heaven and talking to God. And that could suggest that either God's a pet, or that could suggest that Satan might have made the idea of God up, so that you know, people can believe and be docile and wait till they die in hopes that they can be with God or Jesus or whoever the fuck. And and he just run around murdering people, setting up agreements so that you can sell your soul and all this other shit, so you can become famous, whatever the hell. And remember, Satan runs up and down, seeing whose soul he can devour. And somehow Jesus is supposed to be saving your soul. You can't say his ass got murdered by Satan. You can't say he was placed in charge of Satan Church. So it's some interesting shit. Whole bunch of mind games, whole bunch of mind fucks. And if you literally listen to this and it makes sense to you, then you might actually get something out of it. But most people will look at it and say, I know my God, I know my Jesus, but you know, since I was little, I've been literally hearing fuck you from him. And that's a common theme through my life. And the only blessing I have right now, you would say, are my benefits. I'm literally living on the streets. I'm literally, how would you say, humiliated and a whole bunch of other shit. But you know, you literally have to live in a city that's endorsed and reinforced by the government. And you really don't have to. I mean, you could buy land out here, but apparently that's a blessing to actually get some land and actually live out there by yourself. But then you actually not participating in the grand scheme of whatever this righteousness thing is supposed to be. I sound confused, but it's funny as hell. If you actually lived it, you know what the fuck you're saying.